My name is Gracie, also known as UC Kid, and today I'm doing a small art study while talking about my experience as an artist and lots of other stuff, I guess. I think finding your art style and, more importantly, finding your identity as an artist can come to be quite difficult in the long run. Just mashing ideas and concepts together from other artists and hoping that it sticks isn't necessarily the way to go, but it's not entirely wrong. A lot of artists have pretty bad identity crises when it comes to your initial style. I, for one, can be used as a large example. I don't even know how many art styles I've been through in order to get to the point I'm at now, but I feel like I'm personally at a place where I can draw however I want freely. Sure, there are still instances where I'm very doubtful about my work and how I messed up the anatomy, but it's not my strongest ability, nor do I necessarily care a whole lot about it. Also, with the popularity of social media, a lot of artists feel like they need to be held up on a pedestal, or they get very critical of their own work trying to meet the social media standard. I just recently got over this, sorta. I have pushed myself into becoming a more confident artist in my own style and not comparing my flaws to someone else's art, because it kind of forced me into an art block and killed my confidence after a while. Leaning more towards social media affecting artists and the ability to create, when you tend to compare yourself to another artist that you believe is quote unquote better than you, it can be quite overwhelming putting your art out there for others to see. In this video, I just want to discuss my own experiences and the hurdles I had to go over as an artist. You'd think it would be like, oh yes, pencil to paper or pen to tablet screen. Then, oh my god, awesome artwork just came out, woo, with no hard feelings or self-doubt. Wrong. I tend to have a love-hate relationship with art sometimes because there's always the initial idea of change. The majority of the time, I will stick with an art style for a while that I'm pretty satisfied with, and then out of nowhere, I will want to change it into something else. Whether it's a little bit more realism-driven or full cartoon or something, I'm always open to change. And I don't necessarily agree with this for me personally, just because it's like too many ideas. I'm down for change if it's a newer art style and I'm actually improving, but I don't know. As an artist, I have large inspirations for the style I have now or the styles I had leading up to this point. Some of the artists that I really appreciate are Kim Jung-gi and a lot of comic book artists and Renaissance paintings, which is pretty confusing because when you look at my art, you think, where did the inspiration apply to? Or, I don't see a change or any relatively new details. See, I look at references in a very different way. For example, with Kim Jung-gi, I analyze the way he draws freely without basically any erasing or any adjustments. He kind of just draws very free and somewhat messy, but not because it's super detailed. Now, with that minor info, I can look back on my art and say, oh, I see now. Your art is messy, but in a free-flowing way. Sort of. Obviously, it's not as neat as his, but I found the guy very fascinating. Unfortunately, you'd think choosing to take the path of being an artist, you'd think it would be pretty easy and straightforward and laid back. However, there is this god-awful thing called art block. Yay! I love art block. The definition for art block is a period when an artist feels unable to create art due to a lack of inspiration or creativity. But I just like to describe it as trying to drive a car, but all of a sudden you get into the car and you completely forget how to drive entirely. To this day, I still go through art block. For me, it comes in waves. I will put out / create 3 to 4 pieces of art on Instagram or Coffee or wherever I post, and then just not create anything for about 2 weeks or 2 months. Even when I have the ideas, I just can't put pen to paper for the life of me whatsoever. There are ways to overcome this. I have done it several times, but I am also lazy and just wait for my brain to work again. However, if you do need to overcome art block, you can give a couple things a try. Like go for a walk, get out of the house, do some shopping, play games, or just relax. Sometimes not doing anything is the best way to gain creative motivation. I also enjoy doing art studies. It helps me get away from that creative wall that blocks you from continuing with your art style or anything. You can do any kind of art studies. For example, I did a lot of food studies. I was sick and couldn't eat, so I drew it instead. And it was my first time doing food studies. They were actually pretty fun. And now I am completely confident in my ability to draw food, which is actually great. Life studies are another really good study to improve your ability. I personally never do life studies, and the odd time I did do life studies, it was very effective. Honestly, when it comes to life studies, just draw something directly in front of you. Like, for example, I have a chip bag right in front of me, just draw a chip bag. Or draw the desk in front of you. Or draw the sky with the clouds in it. I drew the house across the street from me, and the tree directly in front of my house out my window that I see right now. So now I know I'm able to somewhat confidently draw both of those. Will I ever draw houses and trees? Probably not, but now I know I have the ability to do so. If you have watched my videos or seen any of my posts, you may know I do a lot of redraws. Redraws help me see my improvement, and they are also super good for getting out of artblock. That's why I have done so many of them. If you are ever self-conscious about your art, give redrawing a try. It helps you see how far you've come. Even if you don't believe that you have grown at all, do a redraw, and then put them side by side for comparison. Believe me, there is a change. Looking back on all of my old art and how I felt about it, I wish I could go back to that feeling. I was like 11 and drawing big-headed characters with super tiny bodies, and I thought I was the best artist ever. I have a whole collection of my old sketchbooks that I sometimes flip through and compare to my art now, because I've grown an awful lot, and sometimes I just want a refresher. Like when I'm feeling down about my art and I'm like, oh, this is flat, I'll flip open that old sketchbook and be like, okay, well, it's not as flat as I thought. I feel like looking back on these times where there was little to no social pressure or social media pressure, I believe you could have a lot more creative freedom and get congratulated for it. Nowadays, you make an art piece that's too good and it's labeled as AI. Yikes. I always feel like the topic of being an artist is discussed a lot for a reason. I personally just wanted to give my input on the topic because I have so much to say. I may even make this a series or something because there's so much more I want to discuss about this topic. Yeah, anyways, thank you all for watching this video. You can find me on any social media platform, including Patreon and Ko-fi. All my links will be in the description anyways. If you have any questions about the video or you want to reach out to me, check to the description. Anyways, bye!
What the dog doing?